Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this webinar, Back to School Support and Resources for Reading Wonders 2017, and thank you for your patience. We were just waiting for everyone to join and then so we could begin. My name is Sarah Shuja, and I'm a marketing manager at McGraw Hill, based in Dubai. You must have attended our series of webinars before, so by now you probably know the drill. Before we go any further, let's just pause and check if the audio connection is all right, which I think rightly is because you were able to respond in the chat box to the conversation me and Brandon were having. So I'll just skip over that. But if you have any audio connections or you cannot hear us, please let us know in the chat box. I'll give you a brief overview of this session. This is an implementation training session for Reading Wonders 2017 for grades K to 6. So if you teach grades K to 6 and are using Reading Wonders 2017, this session is for you. We've got moderators for you today. That's me and my colleague Afsana. So we'll be in the background to help you support with the chat box or the Q&A. So if you have any questions for Brandon, please feel to put them in the Q&A box. If you'd like to engage with Brandon, feel free to type out in the chat box or anything. So we're here to sort of in the background to respond you to any queries or anything that you have. That's Brandon there for you, and a bit of background about Brandon. I've worked with Brandon before, and we're really thrilled to have him here with us today. Some of you might be familiar with him from previous sessions that he has done. Brandon is a K-6 literacy consultant at McGraw Hill and also has a certification for gifted and talented education. Brandon also works with elementary teachers, coaches, administrators on best practices across literacy instruction. He's done a couple of trainings abroad and in US. He travels and he's been to other places to do training for English literacy instructions, one-to-ones, and also for the 21st century classroom to make them more interactive. Without any further ado, I'm going to pass on to my colleague Afsana, who is going to go over the housekeeping slides, and then we'll let Brandon begin. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sarish. So just before we do begin, there are a few things that we want to cover just to ensure that the process and the experience for you during the webinar is as seamless as possible. Just so in terms of audio connection, so I can see that most of you can hear. However, if you do experience any issues with your connection, just feel free to disconnect from your computer if you're using a computer, and then we would recommend dialing in using your phone. It just means you won't get affected by the internet connection when it comes to your audio. And just to bear in mind, a few things that could impact your connection is other kind of high bandwidth platforms that might be being used in your home, such as Netflix, YouTube, and gaming platforms. If you do miss part of the session, we are recording today, so we will be circulating that recording to you all by email within a week of today as well, which will also include the certificate for you to download of your participation. So that is due to arrive within a week of today, which is about 5 working days. And please do ask questions. There will be a Q&A at the end as well, as Sarish mentioned. We have the chat box and the Q&A box on the right-hand side. So any comments, questions, general queries, if you have any kind of technical issues as well, you can drop me a message in the chat box as well. I'll help you as much as possible. And now I'll pass over to Brandon.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. If you don't mind making me the presenter so I can share my screen, that would be awesome. I'll turn my camera on for just a second. Yep, thanks for that lovely introduction. Like I said, welcome everybody. Let's see, am I the presenter? No. Afsana, I think Afsana has to make me the presenter.
I think you are the presenter. You've got the ball.
Let me see. Well, it is not letting me be the presenter. Can you try again? It's still showing you as the presenter, and I didn't get a message pop up on my screen. Oh, there it goes. Hello. I am now the presenter. Awesome. Okay. So now we want to share my screen. But it's not letting me share my screen.
No.
Here we go. Hold on. Like I said, it's been a minute since we've done WebEx because we've started using Zoom. And so now it's going to make me make sure that I've allowed for the privacy and all of that stuff, on my end. Apologize, you guys. Allow WebEx to record your computer screen so that you can share the content and events. Yes.
Thank you for the lovely comment, Idris. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. It says, "Hello, Brandon. We have been dancing on your grammar, schools, and spelling songs."
That's very sweet. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you might recognize me. You might recognize me from some videos.
So thank you so much for that feedback.
Yeah. Well, I still don't have the ability to share my screen.
I wonder why. Should just be able to share. You're the presenter.
Yeah. Let me try this.
Oh, I can see something.
Yay!
Yeah.
You can see my screen now.
I can see your screen.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And now you should be able to see a Wonder screen.
In a minute. Not yet. I still see the WebEx.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, it says I'm sharing. Sharing your event window.
That's the WebEx window.
Okay, do you want to leave this event? No, I do not. It's only letting me share the window, but that's not what I want to share. I want to share my screen. You may want to pause the recording until we can get my screen showing. I'm gonna leave and come back in to this event. See if that helps. I'll be right back.
Okay. Sorry everyone for the inconvenience. I'm checking on I'm actually able to share my screen.
Do I need to do that?
It's done. Yeah, so you can continue.
There we go. Perfect. Well, thanks everybody for hanging. Sorry about that technical difficulty. It's been a minute since I have used WebEx because we've been using Zoom so much lately. Turn my video back on so you can see me again. So what we're going to do today is we're going to really talk about using Wonders, copyright 2017, in a distance remote environment. And one of the things I want to key you into that is so critical is what you see on my screen right now. When you log into your Wonders teacher account, you will see this pop-up message that says something about new teacher or new back-to-school supports. And it actually says how to go to resources, go to the resource library, and go to this back-to-school support. There are things there now, which is great. Also, you can refer, there's a little link here that says refer to this summary. You can click on that link and it will pop you up sort of a message as to what all is coming. Some of those things, it may say coming soon, are already there, which is awesome. But there will be things that will continue to roll out through the month of September all the way into October. So please continue to check back often. So I'm going to just hit OK on this little message. And I happen to be logged in as a 4th grade teacher. I know we have everything from kindergarten to 6th grade here, and that's awesome. Welcome. Do know that it doesn't matter because everything navigates the same. As you see my mouse going across the top, all of this navigation is exactly the same no matter whether you teach kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way through 6th grade. So what I want to show you first is right there in that resource library. So I'm going to go to resources and click on resource library. And what they've done is that they've added a new category called back to school support. So once I'm in my resource library, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. And I want to point your eyes to sort of the left side of the screen. Can y'all see my screen? Do you see a folder? Do you see a category that says back to school support? Right here, it says back to school support resources. Do you see this?
Yep.
So then I'm going to go ahead and click. I'm kind of talking rhetorically, but I appreciate you. I appreciate the participation. Thank you so much. Makes me feel good when you talk back to me. So what you see here, and again, it may look different, you guys, if you teach kindergarten or 1st grade versus, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There are some slight differences in some of the materials. What you're going to see is back to school support for families. You're going to see that these letters are in multiple languages, Arabic, Chinese, Hmong, Korean, Spanish, English, of course, Urdu. And these are just great letters that you can send home to the parents to introduce them to what are things they can do for setting their students up for success in a back-to-school remote learning environment. You'll also see a sort of introduction to Wonders PowerPoint here. It's kind of on the 3rd. So there's multiple pages here, you guys. There's like 14 different things. So you can use the little arrows here at the bottom right to scroll through. So there's a little PowerPoint called Introducing Wonders to Families. So if you do sort of a virtual meet the teacher or back-to-school night, get parents online, a lot of these things would be great. Also, one of the things I love that's been added, check this out, please, is called the Scavenger Hunt. So there is a primary version for kindergarten and 1st grade. There is also this intermediate version. You can see this. I'm going to make this full screen. And see these icons, the little blue, orange, red circles, so forth. These icons are the same things that the students see on the student dashboard. So if you have that student login, this is a great way for parents and students to become familiar with their dashboard. So if I come over here, I'm just going to pop over to the student side. So now what you see on my screen, this is like if I was a 4th grade student and I was logged in, I see this little red and purple and orange and blue icon for my games and for my texts and for my words to know or vocabulary. And so how cool is this that now there's like a little game that parents and students could do together? Like, what's the name of that icon? What do you see there? What kinds of things are you going to find there? So you could send this to your students. They could print it out. Again, remember, if you want to share something with your students, you simply click on the little cog or window and you could say, assign this resource. So if I click on assign this resource, it's going to take me to my assignment manager, which is what you see now on my screen. I give it a name, so I'm going to call it Digital, whoops, if I can spell, Digital Scavenger Hunt. Bum, bum, bum. And then I could give some directions like, I might have them print this out. Please print and work with your parent or guardian or grandparent or sibling, whoever, is the caretaker in the home, to discover your wonders icons, something like that. Start date, end date, due date. I'm going to, you'd have your roster of students here. I'm going to hit assign. And now that assignment has been sent to my students. Now we'll take a look at what that looks like from the student point of view here in a little bit. So back here to this back to school support. So there's all sorts of things there I would encourage you to check out. Look at this, back to school support for teachers. That was for families. There's a category called back to school support for teachers. And this is fabulous, you guys, because this talks about, these are just short little tips and tricks, how students can complete a practice page digitally, how to adjust your calendar, having students working in their, close reading companion, if you have some of those components. Just as I go through here, there's even printables. Hey, I showed you the Scavenger Hunt. Look at this one right here called Student Dashboard. This is another just PDF that you could send or download or share with your students. Let me open this up, make this full screen for you guys. And you can see here, this is literally an annotated step-by-step, you see it's sort of numbered there, version of the student platform. Really goes into depth of what each little icon is, what it does. You could use this handout along with that Scavenger Hunt, which could be a great opportunity for learning as well. And so that's just a multiple page PDF printable that's good for you as a teacher to know, but also would be great for your students to do or to have as well. And so that's a PDF. You can just click on it, download it, and send it to them. Or you can read it for it yourself as you're really modeling for students. So again, I just encourage you to come here, check out these. All of these are just short little 3 to 5 minute quick tip videos to help get you started. Now, the other thing that I want to let you know that's so fantastic, okay, is priority standards. One of the things that we're doing in the United States and probably everywhere is we know that teaching remotely is not the same as being face-to-face. So typically a Wonders lesson could be anywhere from, 90 minutes all the way to, a 2-hour English language arts literacy block. Well, you can't do that. You can't keep a kindergartner online for 2 hours. That's not reasonable. So throughout the United States, what a lot of people are focusing in on are what we call the priority, or you can call it essential standards. And so what we've done is we've gone through the lesson plans, the templates at every grade level. And you can see here's one that is K-6 combined. So if you want all of the lesson planning templates, this one is just the standard, 4th grade template. So that's the one I chose. So I'm going to open this up. Really kind of goes through how to use this document. The little icons, we've included whole group and small group, even though I know not everybody's doing small group for distance remote learning. We actually go through and identify what are those priority or essential standards at each grade level, and they are slightly different. And then as I scroll down, let me scroll down a little bit more here. I'm going to show you this screen nice and big there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more. Whoop. So what you see here is sort of a day-by-day plan. You'll notice the pacing suggestions for time. Now here's some new words for some of you. How many of you have heard about synchronous and asynchronous? Has anybody heard those terms before? It was new words to me. Synchronous means what do you do? What are the parts of the lesson that you can do face-to-face, whether you're on WebEx or Zoom or Google Hangout or making videos for your students where they can see you and you can see them. That's synchronous learning. So you can see here, I would do my introduce the concept for about 5 minutes. I have a read aloud for about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Then I would go into my reading writing workshop book and do my shared reading and then the vocabulary mini lesson. So you'll notice, like, I'm not doing any grammar, I'm not doing any writing on this day because that's not priority. I'm not saying don't teach it, but if you're really needing to focus on the priority standards, that's what the focus would be on. Then that third column that says asynchronous, okay? These are things that students can do sort of independently or on their own when they're not necessarily online with you. Now, these could be things they do pencil paper. These could be things that they do on the computer, right? Like assignments, things that you assign to them. And that's what asynchronous is, typically things that a student is doing without the direct guidance or direct explicit instruction from the teacher, on the screen. And then finally, that last category is the priority standards. What standards are being met from doing each one of these parts of the lessons. And so you could just see if I scroll through, we've got each of your 5 days right here. And what is so cool, you guys, is that this is a good template that you can use week after week for teaching in a distance remote learning. So again, that's under the back to school support for teachers. You've got the video help and support as well as these priority standards. I know some of you might be coordinators and you might be working with all grade levels, so you can just download this K-6 combined and you'd have it all in one, or if you just need your particular grade level. All right, a few more things that are in this back to school support. You've got assessments, so like here you can see 2 benchmark assessments book. Remember, I'm logged in as a 4th grade teacher, but I have access not only to my 4th grade benchmark assessments or unit level or weekly assessments, we're also giving you access to the previous grade level. Now, not that we are advocating that you just over-assess, okay? But because we know that since last March, there might be some gaps. And you, if you teach 3rd grade or if you teach 4th grade, you may want to know what was going on in the previous grade level. And so we gave that to you just so you could see what it is they were doing at the end of the previous grade level that you taught. Obviously, that doesn't impact kindergarten as much because you don't have a previous grade level. The other thing that I see here are leveled readers. Now, you already know you have access to all of the Wonders leveled readers, right? Every single teacher, no matter what grade level, has access to the K-6 leveled reader database. But what this says is Apprentice Tier 2. So if you're taking notes or, writing this down or just listening, the Apprentice leveled readers are for grades 2 through 6. Let me say that again. The Apprentice, or what we call Tier 2 leveled readers, are for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They are from our intervention program called WonderWorks, but we're giving you access to them for free. And they are written for students who could be up to 2 years below grade level, right? And these Apprentice leveled readers will always be the same as your approaching leveled readers, okay? So those of you in 2nd through 6th grade, you'll see this category of Apprentice leveled readers. And again, if this is something that you want to assign to students who might have some gaps, who might be a little bit behind, you can simply click on the little wheel or cog here, go to assign this resource. You've seen me do this before. I'm going to do it several times. So you can see how you can assign things to students. And so I'm going to call this, Tier 2 reader. I don't need it to be reviewed. One of the things I love, and maybe you didn't know this was here, but I love this, is right here. Look at this, student audio recorder. What? Oh. I need a big reaction. What that means is that anything you assign to your students, they can record their voice. Now, that is excellent if you have a student with a learning disability. That's awesome if you have a student who could be very young, like a kindergarten or first grader, who doesn't have the ability to maybe type a response, but maybe you want them to read a passage or and retell it or summarize it. I could turn the student recorder on, right? And that way, maybe I'll want to review it. I can say, hey, I want to listen to you read the first page, or I want you to give me a summary of the text. So I would give some notes. You know, I might say, read the text or the leveled reader to use the recorder to record a summary. I might say, include 3 important facts you learned, okay? And then start date, end date. See, this is great too. I don't know if you didn't know this. When you make assignments, anything, you can choose what date it appears on the student's calendar. So if you want to make assignments early, you could do that, okay? So I check those. I'm going to hit assign. And done. So that process that you've seen me where I click on the cog or click on the wheel takes me to the assignment manager, making those assignments. All right. So we've seen the support for families, for teachers, the multiple assessments, and the leveled readers. Now I want to say this. If you are a kindergarten, first or second grade teacher, or even third grade, one of the other additional pieces you'll find are additional decodable readers. We know we have decodable readers in kindergarten, first and second grade, but we also gave them available to the previous grade level. So if I'm, for example, if I'm a second grade teacher, not only do I have access to my second grade decodable readers, but I also have access to my first grade decodable readers. If I teach third grade, right, there aren't necessarily decodable readers for third grade, but because the previous grade level does, I would have access to my second grade decodable readers. So again, I just want to encourage you to check back often. There will be more things added as we go throughout this first semester to this back to school support resource. But again, I think there's a lot of good things here. Really make sure you check out the back to school support for teachers and for families. There's a lot of good stuff there to help get you started teaching digitally. Before we go on, are there any questions, you guys in the chat? Anything going on? Comments, questions, feedback?
Yes,
let me know.
One. Will we be able to get notified when students submit their work?
Yes and no. The notification, you would still need to log in. Let me show you. So if I come over here to manage and assign, okay, and I'm going to click on the assignment manager, okay, I would need to log in and come to the assignment manager and then look at my screen for a second. Can you see that some work has been submitted? Pretty clear, right? If you look right here in this column that says submitted, I can see 1 of 3, 1 of 3. Or if it's blank, I can say, oh, nobody has submitted. But these are all the assignments, you know, that I've made, including the 2 you just saw me do, which was the digital scavenger hunt and the tier 2 reader down here. Okay. So as far as notification, it's not going to email you. It's not going to, you know, ding, ding, ding. It's not, there's no, you know, bells are going to ring. But if you log in, because you know you're the one that made the assignment, you can always come and check to see who's submitted, who hasn't. And then if you need to message that student, guess what? You could send them a little message saying, hey, I haven't received any, you know, assignments from you. Okay. And so right over here under talk about it, you might want to send them a little, you know, message. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other questions so far?
That's it for now.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's go ahead and do a couple of other really important things before I get into showing you more like assignments and what it looks like from the student point of view. I want to let you know that there is a tech support website, tech support phone number. Now, is there a specific, I know we have one in the U.S., is there a specific tech support number for international that you guys share? I don't know if there is or not. I know we have a 1-800 number for the U.S. Might be the same number. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same one that we have on the, when you go into my.mh education and it's help. That's the same thing that we have.
Perfect. And so what I wanted to share with you just before we go deeper in is it's important that you always know where to find that help button, whether it's, right before you log in or even after you log in. When you scroll down, you're going to see a couple of buttons down here. So look in the bottom right hand of my screen down here. It says tech support and minimum requirements. When I click on tech support, that takes you to the McGraw Hill Digital Technical Support website. There is a lot of good things here. If you want to search a particular topic, you could just type that in. I want to remind you that Wonders lives on a platform called Connect Ed or Connected. So like, for example, here, Connected, how do I use it for, a Chromebook or, best practices, those kinds of things. One of the things I really want to point out, Google Chrome just recently did an update. So like I'm using the Chrome browser right now, but notice right over here where it says update, why can I only see the front cover of something I'm downloading? It's because you want to make sure you adjust your settings because Google Chrome did an update and it's affecting how people download PDFs. So that's important. Also, not only do you have access to this digital technical support, I'm going to hop back over to the student side. Remember this screen? When I was looking at the student's dashboard? Well, if I scroll down as a student, and again, I would want to model this for my students. I would want to make sure my parents or caregivers are aware of this. Look at this, same links down here. Look at the bottom right hand of my screen. You see technical support and you see minimum system requirements there as well. Okay, I just want to make sure you know that not only do you have access to this, but parents and students have access to this as well. Because what is so critical is that you understand your computer, right, wherever you're working, if it's at home, whatever device our students are using needs to be set up correctly. There are some certain requirements. And so I want to click on this label in the bottom right-hand corner that says minimum requirements. One of the things to know is making sure, for example, that you're using a browser that's going to work. And so when I log on here, look at my screen. Look over here to the right. See where my mouse is? Google Chrome, Firefox, Apple Safari, Microsoft Edge. And what version, if you're using an outdated version or if you're not using one of these browsers, things are not going to work nearly as effectively. You'll notice right here, as of May 8th, we no longer support Internet Explorer. So make sure your students or you or parents aren't using Internet Explorer because it's not going to work as well. If I keep scrolling down, screen resolution, right? A lot of people try to access Wonders on their cell phones. Well, guess what? You could maybe pull it up, but it's not going to look right because Wonders wasn't built to work on a small little tiny phone screen. You need like a 9.5-inch screen or bigger. Again, also notice whether you're PC or Mac or Chromebook that you're using the updated operating system, right? We also support Android and Apple tablets. And then, of course, here, allowing, right? Look at this, browser cookies, JavaScript, MP3s, pop-up blockers. And you might be thinking, I don't know what any of that means. Again, then you can call tech support or you can go to the tech support website to ask for more help. They even, look at this, they even will have agents online. Right now it says agent offline, but you can even virtually chat with somebody just by clicking on the tech support website. Let me show you one other thing that I love. I'm going to go back here to the tech support here. And this is a great way, if you're wondering, you're like, I don't know if my computer's up to date. I don't know if it's all, if it has all those requirements. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, look on the bottom right-hand side of my screen where it says quick links. Look at this. Check your system setup. Not only can you do this from your computer, but parents or students could do this as well to check to see if their machine, whatever they're using, is working and is set up correctly. So when I click this, it's going to run a system check. Okay, give that a second, and you can see here, this is my machine, right? I can see I'm using a Chrome browser, cookies enabled, JavaScript enabled, pop-ups. Click here to test. Boom, pop-ups are working fine. Because if you have a pop-up blocker on, things aren't going to work as well, okay? So I just wanted you to know that that's a great place for you to get tech support, okay, to make sure that your machine or your students' machines are set up. Anything else going on in the chat? Are we still good to go? Any feedback, questions, or comments from you guys? Let me know. Type it in the chat box or Q&A box. Or just give me a thumbs up or good to go, or let me know that you're with me.
Yes, please. If you have any questions for Brian, please let us know.
All right, we're good to go?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so now let's talk about the practicality of, thank you, I see Joy says perfect. The practicality of teaching remotely. So you know that you've got that priority standards document, which allows you to sort of have a trimmed down or slimmed down version of the Wonders lesson plans. I know that once I've got my calendar set up, you can see here that I'm on Unit 1, Week 2, Day 2, okay? Because today is Tuesday, so I'm on the second day of my week here. And I can simply click, right, on my daily plans right here for a whole group. I'm going to do my strategy lesson, followed up by my skill lesson, followed up by my vocabulary. That's my whole group reading, okay? If there are any parts of the writing or grammar that are in that priority standards document, or if that's something that your school or district is recommending you still do, you can click into those. What I really like is when I click into, I'm just going to go to this strategy lesson, I can see my mini lessons. I can see my pages from my Reading Writing Companion. And I can simply click on this. It's going to open up. And if I'm teaching virtually, here is my mini lesson. I am projecting on my screen what I want my students to see, right? And they can be following along with me. In this sort of digital ebook, right, I could teach this mini lesson. I could have my teacher guide right here with me, you know, in my hand, and be doing the instruction for this lesson on the strategy and then this lesson on the skill. I've got all of the digital tools across the top. So here I've got my highlighter tool. So if there's something I want to highlight, right, I can just click and drag. If I want to highlight, what does it mean to make predictions? There we go. Let's see, do a yellow highlight. Here, I've got my pen tool. Look at this. I've got a black, orange, green, and blue pen. And I can use this little slider to make the pen fatter or skinnier. And so if there is something I need to point out, you know, I could draw on here as I'm teaching. I've got these digital tools to sort of clue my students into, hey, we're going to, you know, be making predictions, and we're going to go back to page 37, and we're going to read this. Now, here's what's else really kind of cool about this. And look over here to the far right. I can put a check mark, saves that annotation. What I love is it says reread page 37. Well, guess what? Down here at the bottom, if I need to go to page 37, I can type that in, hit enter, takes me back to page 37 to do that rereading. And then if I need to go back to where I was on page 40, boom, boom, type that in, and I'm right back to where I left off. As I am teaching, if I want to make some notes, I can choose a note. I'll just say make a note here. I like to sometimes use this by going in ahead of time before I have my students, and I can make some teacher notes or have some guiding questions on my little virtual Post-it notes. and then they're already sitting there, and then all I have to do is click on it to read the notes. And then finally, this tool, underline, circle, draw a box. Now, I could do those things with my pen tool. Remember my pen? So I could choose my orange pen, and I could, you know, underline, I could circle, right? Doesn't look as pretty because I'm sort of doing it with my mouse. But if I choose this tool to circle or underline, right, I choose it, and then I can highlight the text and then choose what color. I'll do green. There, it makes a nice underline. Let's do one more. If I want to circle a bit of text evidence, you know, then I might highlight what I want to circle, choose what color. Let's do purple. Boom, and it has a nice circle there. Okay. I can use this as a teaching tool. My students, of course, have access to this ebook as well. And don't forget, every page has audio support as well.
When you read.
So it's going to read not only the instruction, but also, like I said, if I go back to page 37, right? Don't forget there's audio for the story. And another great scaffold, which really I think can be supportive for students whose English may not be their first language, is right over here. For each of your stories, right next to the title, there's this little black button, and it's language summaries. And so I may want to first listen to a summary. It's not the whole story, remember that, but a summary, you know, in Arabic.
حفل عرض المواهب. هذه إحدى القصص الواقعية.
Okay, and then once I'm done with that, just to sort of scaffold that instruction, I could then listen to a summary in English before going in and listening to the whole story. So those are some great things. Thanks, Joy. Joy says, wow, impressive. That have always been there, right? But I think it's now that you're teaching remotely or digitally, these are tools that you can use in your own classroom, but that parents and students can use. What's that word? Asynchronously, when the student is working without your guidance or support. Okay? All right. I'm going to leave that. And again, not only can I, you know, by just simply clicking, remember, how did I get there? Let me go all the way back. How did I get there? I knew I was on, you know, the unit and week that I wanted to go on. Here I am on day 2. All I did was open up my daily plans, and I clicked on comprehension strategy. And, you know, here's also another tool that says in presentation that I could use to model this skill with, right? I can pull this up full screen. I'm in this sort of interactive view because I always know it's in the interactive view because look at the gray background and look at all these tools. Again, typing, circle, draw, underline. But this is like a ready-to-go mini lesson. I've got the story back there, but here I can model what making predictions mean. And then all I have to do is click the arrows, okay? Tells me to read a little bit of this, okay? Highlight the details. And guess what? I've got a highlighter here, so I could highlight details as I'm reading. There they are, highlighted for me. Look at this, a little think aloud. As I read, Tina interrupted Mara when she told her that she had an idea. This confirmed my prediction that Tina is bossy in the friendship. Okay. I also predicted that Mara will have to stand up to Tina later in the story. So these are all sorts of supports before asking students to do it on their own. Yeah. So again, these little sort of digital modeled mini lessons you have every single week at every single grade level from your reading writing workshop book. All right. So that's a digital mini lesson. Here's the ebook. And again, if I wanted to make sure my students see this, what could I do? I could simply open this resource, right? I could add it to my presentation if I need to, or I can just click on it right from here. And of course, my students already have access to their ebooks as well. And once I'm done with this, making predictions, guess what? Click right here, and now I go to my comprehension skill. I can click on my little mini lesson. Now we're going to talk about problem and solution. Let me make this full screen here for you. I've got all my interactive tools down here at the bottom. I've got my little arrows. Just click on the arrows. I can just read this. Students can read this as a review. I think what's also really great is that parents, can use this as their own way to sort of help them help their students at home, because it literally steps it out step by step by step. Okay. Graphic organizers here. I can pull this up. I can model for my students, okay, by simply clicking on one of the graphic organizers as well. Oops, I think I hit it about 1 million times. Oh my gosh. Like opened up 5 million times. There we go. And so even with here, if I'm modeling how to use this graphic organizer with students, as I'm teaching and modeling, look at this, click on T for type. Here I can type their names, right? If I need a highlighter, or if I'm on a interactive touch screen, I can use the pencil, okay? I can say the setting is in the school. Now this doesn't look as good because I'm obviously doing it with my mouse, but if I was on a touch screen, I could write really, really nicely there, okay? All right. So those are just interactive tools that are there for you to teach, and all I'm doing is clicking step by step, part by part. I might see games, I might see activities, practice sheets, whatever it might be that I could eventually assign to them. Now, not only do I have these little mini lessons to teach digitally from, but check this out. Remember, every day, every grade, ready-made, it says today's presentation. And so I can click on Go, and I've got this ready-made interactive slide presentation that includes some of these modeled mini lessons. And look right here, up at the top of my screen, right here where it says Lesson Resources, there's a little arrow. I can click on that arrow to move to the next slide. Boom, boom, boom. I think my presentation just froze on me. Well, let me try that again. I'm going to turn off my video so it doesn't eat up so much of my bandwidth. Okay, so I'm going to come here. I'm going to click on today's presentation. Let me refresh my screen. How are we doing out there? Comments, questions?
We can see it now on your, I don't think it's frozen anymore. No comments or questions here. Just the last one from Joy, which was, wow, very impressive.
Okay, good.
It's working, by the way. I can see it, Brandon.
Okay. So yeah, the fact that you have this sort of ready-made presentation tool every day, every grade, that matches your lesson plans. And so if you need to customize this, you absolutely can. Like I said, you've got the arrow here. Are there downloadable audio texts? What are you asking? Hold on. No. The texts are online, Joy, but they are not downloadable because they are copyrighted. That makes sense? So you do have to log in. Students would have to log in order to get that text. Yeah. Is it Teresa? Whenever I use the mini lessons, my students used to enjoy learning these skills explicitly and easily. Oh, yeah. So excellent. So somebody there has also used these little mini lessons. Perfect. But like I said, you can choose these lesson resources. You've got all of these slides ready to go that match your lesson plans. All right? And don't forget, if I come over here to my planner, right? So here, very first thing here, if I go to my weekly planner and I need to rearrange, something, maybe I want to start with vocabulary. Look at that. It's easy as a drag and a drop. Or if I don't get to something, boom, I can move it over from day to day. If there's something that I'm not going to do because I'm really having to narrow my scope, right? Maybe I'm following those priority standards and I'm not going to do everything that's in my lesson plan, I can click on this little cog and I can move it to a holding bin. So it's over here in the holding bin. It's not deleted forever. I could always put it back. But what a lot of teachers are finding in a remote learning environment, they're not able to do everything. Like I might not do this research and inquiry project. So I can click on this little cog, move to the holding bin. And there's one here on Friday, move to the holding bin. So, and as you can see, that holding bin now went from like 4 things to 6 things, okay? And if I want to print my lesson plans, I got a printer icon, or if I just want to put everything back because I did too much dragging and dropping and whatnot, there's a reset button right here as well. I see that comment. If we're using Microsoft Teams, can we assign these resources in the same way? No. So Microsoft Teams, I would use it for my direct explicit modeling, that face-to-face, you know, sort of where my kids log in to see me on screen and I can see them. And you can definitely share your screen, just like I'm doing right now with you through WebEx, but they would still need to log in to their Wonders account to get their, you know, assignments or their to-do list. And yeah, the Reading Writing Workshop book, I don't think it's in a PDF, Joy, in order to download, but we'll go look at that, okay? These are great questions, you guys. Thank you for asking. Okay, so let's take a look. If I come over here to resources, my resource library. So you're asking about like downloadable books. If I come here to my ebooks, boom. Yeah, I don't see anything that says like PDF version. So I think they would still, and I understand, right? Not always a great internet connection. But that, you know, the problem with that is, Joy, because these books are copyrighted, they're not meant to be downloaded and then like just shared out, because that would be breaking a copyright rule. Most likely, you know, it's just a legal issue. That's the same reason why you can't just download the audio either. Okay. All right. Last little thing. Yeah, totally understand. Thank you, Joy. Last little thing is, of course, what if I want to assign some practice, some worksheets for my students to do digitally online? Well, super easy. You can see right here from my dashboard. Here I am on Unit 1, Week 2. Well, here are my printables. So I could come over here to their Your Turn practice book, you know, or here's spelling and phonics or grammar. Those are sort of the biggies. Don't forget, you do have differentiated versions of the Your Turn, A, B, and E. A is approaching level, so those students who are not quite on grade level that need a little bit more support. B is for beyond level. That's your gifted and talented students, the students who need more challenge and more enrichment. And then finally, you have your E, which is for your ELs, your English language learners, which is really great, obviously, for students who may be second language learners. And then the Your Turn is basically the on-level version of the A, B, and E. So A, B, E, and Your Turn all sort of are similar. They're just written slightly different to be differentiated. So if I want to assign these pages, number one, before I have my students do it independently, especially at the beginning of the year, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up that interactive version, because this is exactly what it's going to look like for the students, right? If I came here and I would say, boys and girls, you know, we just got finished talking about this. This might be my day one. We just finished talking about our vocabulary word. I'm going to assign this to you, but I want you to see, and I would model for my students how to do it. Because think about this, you guys. We know our students are digital natives, but that doesn't mean they are digital learners. Does that make sense? So we have to teach them how to use these digital tools, right? What I keep telling people, especially these first few weeks of school, don't be concerned with content. The content will come. It's more about establishing the routines, the procedures, the norms, just like you would if you were face-to-face with your kids. But there are behaviors that they need to know about when they're on screen, when they're doing, virtual learning, and how to do the work, especially if I'm dealing with little ones, right? You're going to want to model and hold their hands a lot. They'll get it. It's, I always say, embrace the struggle, right? It's not going to be easy the first time. There might be a lot of errors. That's okay. You might make mistakes. Let your kids know, okay? Yeah, I get it. It is a real challenge this year. So I would say, boys and girls, we talked about these words, accountable, right? Desperately, humiliated. This is what I'm going to be asking you to do. Finish each sentence using the vocabulary word provided. Even though the girl was very tired, I might come over here and I can click on T for type. I can choose my font. I can choose my font size. I can even choose the color, all right? And I'm just going to click up here, get the little blinking cursive. Even though the girl was very tired, she desperately tried to stay awake, okay? And so I can do that. Now, if I was on a touch screen, guess what? I could use my finger and use the pencil tool, right? Now, this doesn't look good for me because you know that I'm on my MacBook. I don't have this is not a touch screen for me, but I could type that. And as I use each word, I'm done with it. I could, mark them out. Come up here even. I could even put my name on my paper, right? The most important thing is modeling for students how to use these tools, how to just, click to get the blinking cursor so they could type, on their interactive practice sheet. And then you would want to say, after you're done, make sure you come over here to the right and hit save. Because when you assign this, you have all of the different practices for the week. And so you may just assign them the one vocabulary page, but then, or you might say, they have all week to do these pages, but they don't necessarily need to do them all in one day, but they're due, by Friday. I might assign them on Monday, but it's not due until, say, Friday. So they would always want to save their work so they can come back, pick up where they left off, okay? So always modeling how to do these things digitally. Same thing with the games, right? Like you don't have to assign any of these games and activities because guess what? Let's go back over here to the student dashboard. Look at this. They have a whole icon right here. If I click on this little orange circle that says games, look, there's all the games for the week. Spelling, vocabulary, phonics, grammar. Well, let's go back over to the teacher side. Those are the same games that I see right here. Now, if I want to, I click on the wheel and assign them, but I don't have to because they're already there. But what I do like to do is possibly say, you know what, boys and girls, let's take a look at this game. Let's play it together, or at least review. I may not do all of it, but say, hey, when you log in to Wonders, you're going to see one of these games that I'd like you to play. I want you to play your vocabulary game. And the way you do this is you match the word or idiom to its definition. So hesitated, that might mean pause, okay? Advise, that might mean to give your opinion. Desperately, in a worried way. Accountable, to be responsible. And then we could check our work.
Fantastic.
Okay, and then you would click on next. So it's, again, some of it is about the content, knowing the definitions, but do you also see it's really about teaching, like, you drag and drop. So you're sort of playing the games. You, as a teacher, have to know how to play these games so you can show your students how to play the game, how to hit check, and then how to go to next, right? And again, it's not that you're doing the work for them. It's that you're modeling it so that then when they are on their own, when they're logging in and they're doing this work, they aren't struggling of, I don't even know what to do. But still, there is audio support. There's this little question mark. So if parents or caregivers are helping there at home, it goes through how to use the buttons and how to click through and how to play the game. But modeling it on screen, whether you're in Teams or WebEx or Zoom or Google Hangouts, whatever way that you're communicating with your students, I would do a lot of that modeling, okay? All right, now that you've seen me assign things to students, let me hop over to that student dashboard, okay? And let me refresh. You see right here where it says to do? This is the notification that students get. And again, I would want to train my students to go, hey, you need to look at your to-do list, right? It sort of has a little number 7 here. Now, you've seen me make some assignments. I'm going to refresh my screen. That number is going to go up. Look at that. 7, 8, 9. Now we have 9 things to do because I prepared some things in advance. But look at there. There's the 2 things you saw me do just a minute ago, the digital scavenger hunt, okay? And so students could open this up. They could do it on here if they wanted to, right? Or I could just click here and have them download it, and then they could print it out if they want. So they could view it on screen and just do it, orally. That's fine. But I may want to have them, download it, and then they can print it, okay, which would be nice. Once they're done with it, they can give me a little note. Hey, this was fun. My mom helped me. We learned about my Wonders dashboard, okay? And then once they're done, they hit submit, okay? So I'm not looking to get this back, right? It's not really for a grade. It's just an activity so that they get familiar with their dashboard. Well, what I wanted to show you is once I've done the work, I click on the little submit button, and it puts a green check here next to the assignment. Let's take a look at this next one, the Tier 2 reader. Okay, remember, this is the one where I assigned the audio recorder, okay? And so I'm going to, let me turn my camera off for just a second because I don't want to overdo my bandwidth. I'm going to just simply click on Make a Recording. Now, notice the directions. We're supposed to read the text through and then use the recorder to record a summary, okay? Include 3 important items. So what just opened up is here's the actual leveled reader in this main screen right here up front. The audio recorder is back here behind it. So the first thing I'm supposed to do as a student is what? Just go through. I can use my little arrows and read the book. Don't forget, just like you saw with the Reading Writing Companion, you also have audio supports built in here to your leveled readers as well. So this is a book about the United States Senate and what legislators do and how laws get made and so forth and so forth. So they would read this or listen to this. And then once they're done, they can either close this or they can leave it open and come over here to their audio recorder. And notice it has 8 minutes. So it's not necessarily I'm wanting to listen to them read the whole book, but remember the directions were just to make a summary. So I'm going to click record. And see, I would model all this for my students too, because it's going to ask them, do you give access to the microphone? Yes, you have to give access, so it'll record it. And as soon as I do, now it says we're recording, right? You see the little timer down here going, and I would say, oh, I just read this book called A Day in the Senate. It talked all about how laws get made and laws get passed in the United States, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so once I'm done, I hit finish. I can go back and listen to my recording. I could redo it if I need to, but now I'm just going to hit attach. And it is going to attach this recording of this leveled reader, right, which is open back over here. Okay, close that. And look at the assignment box now. You see in this blue box, now it's attached that recording. I could write a note back to my teacher. Very interesting book. Okay, and then what do I have to do? So important. You model for your students. You let them know. Always hit the submit button, because that goes back to, that's how I get notification, you guys. Remember when I talked about how do I get notification? Well, once they hit submit, when I go log in and I go to my assignment manager, it's going to tell me, oh, this student has submitted, their audio recording. All right, let's take a look at that Your Turn practice book page, right? So it says click to launch, work through these pages, remember to save and submit, due by Friday. So if I click this open, just by simply clicking on the little icon, it's going to look very familiar, right? The students will be like, oh yeah, this is what, my teacher modeled for me. You saw me doing this where I was completing the sentence. Now this is a different page from last week, but you get the idea. So finish each sentence by putting the vocabulary word, the young girl blank, and I have to use the word gracious. So I'm going to click on T for type. And, oh, don't forget, too, if you or a parent or student needs to zoom in, they can use the plus button or the minus button. It's always helpful as well. All right. Got my type tool. Okay, get my little blinking cursor going. The young girl was gracious enough to host lunch. Okay. After 2 days, let's see, we could say, after 2 days, the bread went stale. Okay, and so on and so forth. And then the students can use the little hand tool. They can go through and do all of this work. But what did I say is so important? Come down here and hit save, because that means it's saved to your assignment and saved to the work in your binder. Now, remember, they may not need to submit this today, because why? They need to work through some of the other pages for the rest of the week. As I said, don't turn it in until Friday, okay, or Saturday, or whatever the last day of the week is for you. And so here, right, it's attached it, but until I'm ready to send it to my teacher, I'm not going to hit submit. I could come over here, do this video assignment. I could come over here, listen to this story, whatever it is assigned, but then I might come back over here the next day, right? I can open this back up. There's the work I started. I can come in here and say, okay, now I'm going to be on this next page, and I can type the characters, the settings, the events, whatever it is I need to do, and hit save again, because that way it's just saving whatever work that I do. And then when I'm done with all those pages, what am I going to hit? Submit. Boom. Right? And there it is. Now, what's interesting is you also might be assigning things from the Reading Writing Workshop book or their close reading companion. This is where we're going in and doing those close readings, right? Here it says, follow the directions as you reread the text. Use your digital tools to cite and write evidence. Okay? So again, whatever directions you type in when you're making the assignment is what the students see. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to launch this Reading Writing Companion. I'm going to turn my camera off again there so we don't eat up all my bandwidth. You're going to see those same tools such as underline, highlight, circle, draw a box. And again, would I model this for my students? Absolutely. I would want them to see me doing this work before I just expect them to do it on their own digitally. The other thing, hold on, I want to show you one more thing, is don't forget that even within, besides them going into their resource, into their to-do list, they have, right, all of their ebooks right here under the blue icon, which is read, right? So this is also a place where students can get to their reading writing companion, their leveled reader, the literature anthology pages, even, like I said, the close reading companion. Now, these pages are going to be a little different than, say, doing a worksheet. These will automatically save. So whether I'm doing the pencil tool, underline, or drawing tool, those will automatically save. All right? So practice book pages, things that are Blackline Master, save, submit. Things that are ebooks like the literature anthology, or things, these shared reads, the dragon problem here from my reading writing workshop, any markups, highlighting, auto saves. Let me pop back over here. I just want to show you what it looks like from the teacher side. And I go to Manage and Assign. I'm going to go to my assignment manager. Look at that. Take a minute to look at my screen. I can see who has submitted work. Some might be submitted, some might say completed, some may not say completed, because I need to go in there and maybe, check their work. So if I come over here to that Tier 2 reader, right, I can see how there's a little arrow. I can open that up. I can see, oh, one student has submitted. I can hit View. Okay, read the text, write us. Okay, look, I can see the comments that the student made. And over here is that recording. And then when I click on the recording, that's going to allow me, the teacher, to listen to what that student. Now, I don't know how well y'all will be able to hear this, but I could hit play. So it'll record it. And as soon as I do, now it says we're recording, right? You see the little timer down here going. And I would say, oh, I just read this book called A Day in the Senate. It talked all about how laws get made and laws get passed in the United States. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So once I'm done, I hit finish. Okay, so you heard me, that recording that you just heard me make. I can hear their summary. I can make a comment back to the student. I can say, great job. And then not only has it been submitted, but now that I've listened to it, I can mark it as completed. So that's a note to me as a teacher that I've already heard or taken a look at their assignment, and I'm going to hit save. Okay. And then if I go back to my assignment manager, I could, check out that digital scavenger hunt. I could check out the Your Turn pages, right? So, and I want you to see this. Let me close this up a little bit. Do you see how with student B, I've already seen this. Do you know why? Because look, I've already made a comment. I see a little thought bubble here. I don't know how clear y'all can see that on my screen, but there's a little comment or thought bubble here. If I come over here to student A, I haven't, I know it's completed, but I haven't commented, so I don't think I've seen it yet. So I'm going to click on View, right? Here's their work. I just open this up. This is what you saw me just do, right? The young girl was gracious enough to host lunch. After 2 days, the bread was stale or went stale. So I could see their work. Cool. Nice work. Maybe I grade it, say you got 100%. Submitted. Make sure it's checked as completed. Hit save and say okay. And then what's really kind of cool, when I make comments like this to my students, if I want to go to the next student's work, I don't have to log out or look right up here. When I hit next, now I'm looking at student B. And if I click on this, okay, there's student B's work. The young girl was gracious. After 2 days, the bread was left out and became stale. Okay, cool. I can, obviously I've already seen this one. And so I don't have to log, I can just go next, next, next. Boom, boom, boom. Right, one student right after the other. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is that if I go back over here to the student side, let me just refresh the student's view.
To do.
When the students go back into their to-do list, I would say not only, do they know what the green check mark is, but look, what does this mean? Do you see here on the assignments that have been submitted? There's some thought bubbles. I would let my students know, like, hey, you'll see if I make a comment back to you. And so there's that comment, great job, or nice work, 100%. So I can make comments back to the students, and that's where those will show up. All righty. I know we're coming to the end of our time, and I did want to leave time to answer your questions specifically. So now would be a great time to utilize the chat box or the Q&A box, and let me know. And not only questions, you guys, but was this helpful today? Did you learn anything? I need feedback as a teacher as well. So either just tell me that this works for you, or you learned something, or what most excites you, or if you have specific questions, now would be a great time to ask them. Let's see.
Very
Asma, very helpful. Do what?
Oh, they were just really nice comments. Very helpful, thanks.
Oh, yes, yep. I want to just scroll back through, make sure I saw everything. Yeah, we talked about not downloading the books.
So you've covered everything in the chat, Brandon, but there's one question that came in the Q&A. Yes, you've covered everything in the chat. There's one question in the Q&A. It's from Russia.
Okay.
She says, for kindergarten, can we assign the flashcards and decodable readers?
Yes. So even here in fourth grade, if I come over here to my resource library, and they have a section called cards, same place that you would in kindergarten. You'd come to your resource library, the cards, and so maybe you want to assign the high frequency word cards. Let's see. And I click on this, and look at there, assign this resource. Boom. Okay, takes you to the assignment manager. I might just call this high frequency word cards. And then, I might just say, please review. Select what students get that, and then hit assign. So yeah, absolutely. Sound spelling cards, high frequency word cards, visual vocabulary cards. You could assign, you don't have to, because remember, let's go back over there to the student side. One of the things I don't have to assign the games, I don't have to assign the books. And look right here, there's their words to know. If your calendar is set up, hey, look, accountable, advise, humiliated. These are the words for this particular unit and week, with audio support, with examples and routines right there on the cards. So that's sort of already done. Make sense? Yep. Anything else? Comments, questions?
Anything
the letter
else,
pictures?
please let us know.
Yeah. So those would be the letter pictures. That's called the sound spelling cards. So like these right here, you see here, you have both the large and the small versions. I like the large ones, but just simply click on the wheel and then hit assign this resource. Okay. So, oh look, that one does not say assignable. That might be why she's asking. But let me go over to the student side and just see, because the students have resources too. Do they have the cards? Rasha, that might be one that is not assignable. But now I'm going to give you, Rasha, I'm going to give you a little workaround, okay? Because look what it says. When I click on this wheel, I don't see the option to assign it. Let me see if the small ones are assignable. Hold on. Ah, there it is. So the large ones, I guess they assume that you're going to use in class. But if you come over here to the small ones, those are assignable. Literally the same letter, same sound cards. They're just in a smaller version, like size-wise, and so use that to assign, okay? All right. Yes, we couldn't assign it. Well, it looks like, Ozma, make sure you use the smaller version. The other workaround, Ozma, I was going to tell you about, if for some reason something is not assignable, but is if it says open in original format, you guys, is a PDF. So what you might have to do is download it to your desktop and then email it, okay? So if it says opens in an original format, that means it's a PDF. It is downloadable. You just wouldn't be able to share it through the Wonders platform, but you still could share it. Okay? Awesome. Awesome. Yep, got it. Well, that brings us to our time. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for the technical glitch there at the beginning, but I'm glad we got it all straightened out. Just want to say thank you so much. I want to also just remind you guys, you know, give yourself grace. Embrace the struggle. It is going to be a challenge. And always remember to take care of yourself, right? There is such a thing as emotional fatigue. With everything that's going on in our world with quarantine and COVID, it can be scary. And I just want to remind you all to always, you know, set limits, set a schedule for yourself. Make sure you are getting, you know, eating breakfast, taking a lunch break, getting up, walking around, going outside, exercising. Because if you're stressed out, you know, if just taking care of your own families, it'll be hard to take care of our beloved students as well. So just remember that above all else is that you have to take care of yourself first so you can be there for your students. And with that, I'll say thank you very much, you guys. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
That is such a lovely message, Brandon. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We also have a repeat session, by the way. I'm just dropping the link in the chat box. It's on Friday. You can register for a repeat session of this session again. We also have a couple of other back-to-school support and resources that you can register for as many sessions that you like. As my colleague Afana mentioned earlier, you will receive the recording of this webinar as well as the option to download the certificate in a week's time. So please wait for that email in your inbox. And you can always get in touch with us on our social channels or drop us an email if you have any other questions. Thank you so much and see you soon.